Great Pretender, more like Ed, and Eddie Mura. There are 3 key things that can mean you're a scam artist. 1 is if you enjoy collecting capsule toys, 2 is if you always go into things head first, and 3 is to have sexual tension with your French partner. If you have at least one of these 3 traits, then you are an up-and-coming master con artist, just like our protagonist Makoto Edamura from one of Netflix's newest editions, Great Pretender, an anime about, you guessed it, a scam artist who ends up biting off more than what he can chew when he tries to outcon Luron Thierry, the world's most cunning crook. Now, this anime has been on my list for months to watch ever since I saw its first trailer drop, and my interest only peaked when people began to say that this could be the next Banana Fish, and y'all already know how much I love Banana Fish, so how does this statement stand true? Well, I guess we need to find out. When I first started watching this anime, I noticed that the characters were speaking in Japanese, so I assumed it was in the sub settings, but sure enough, it was the dub. So then that begs the question, why were they speaking in Japanese? It's because why wouldn't they be? Of course they would be speaking in Japanese because of the location they're in. It's a clever way of subverting expectations, as when you boot up an anime on Netflix, it will always default to the dub if the anime has one. But once they arrive in America, that's where Great Pretender tells us that from this point on, everything will be translated into English. Another thing you may notice going into this is how it's cut into 3 sections, or should I say cases. The reason why is because each case is about a different scam, as well as having each one focus on a different main character and their backstory before they became con artists. So who better to start off with than the character focus of our first case than the overconfident, too adorable for his own good Edamame, oops I'm sorry, I'm just teasing Edamura, Japan's self-proclaimed top scam artist, also known for his fluent English and cocky personality, which is actually pretty well earned with how much he's able to accomplish in just 2 episodes. You may be asking yourselves what ends up happening to Edamura to even get himself tangled up with a crew of con artists, and it was just something as simple as getting outconned by tall, blonde, and gorgeous Luron, and stealing his wallet and following him all the way to LA just to get it back from him, as he puts it, "I'm Japan's top scam artist, I can't just let you walk away." Pretty much just being stubborn about it, since he could probably just scam somebody else out of their wallet to replace the money he had lost, but then again, on the other hand, with a man that gorgeous, I'd hate to have such a mischievous guy walk away from me too. A bet is quickly put under place between the two, cause as if luck would have it, Luron is in LA for a con of his own. A big one, seeing as he's supposedly going to be walking away with $5 million if things going according to plan with whatever Luron is planning to sell. However, Edamura says he can sell it for an even higher price, and once he does, Luron will not only have to owe him one, but he'll also have to work for Makoto, which I have a quick question. What kind of work? I need to know, is it the bed testing work or having you to become your demon butler work? Wait, that's just the same thing, isn't it? And a suit and a tie later, along with a pair of glasses that's got me acting up over Makoto with how good he looks in them, and it's truly a crime he doesn't keep them the entire anime. But sorry, this isn't supposed to be the point I brought up him. But yeah, the whole getup is a disguise to peddle the product that Luron's target Eddie Casanano, a Hollywood film director famous for his Razzie movie series, for being nominated ironically for a Golden Raspberry. I really do enjoy how this anime chooses to make me laugh. It's quite nice. The real question here is, what kind of product could a himbo Frenchman even sell to a movie director? Why, drugs, of course, because Eddie doesn't just make movies, he has a secret drug business that's corrupting the streets of LA with the power and influence Eddie has. The drug Luron wants to sell him is called Banana Fish. Sorry, I'm never gonna be over it. But in all seriousness, it's called Sakura Magic. It's apparently a super drug in the form of a candy that can give you a blissfully crazy high, but is also somehow undetectable in a urine test. It sounds unbelievable, yet the fact stays true until Edamame decides to run away with it, only to have his ass handed to him by Abby, which then leads us to finding out Sakura Magic is in fact just a candy and Abby was just acting insane to push that it's a real deal. Yet, if you're paying close enough attention to the anime, you have already known this fact, as earlier when they were in the car, Luron had given Edamura the candy as compensation for stealing his wallet, which is what I have to call great foreshadowing, and let me tell you, this anime is full of that kind of foreshadowing. I didn't even notice until I was rewatching it for this video. Despite how confident Luron is in his plan, Makoto dips out thinking there's no way they'll be able to pull it off, and at first Luron believes that Edamura will just come back, but after a while, he and Abby decide some replanning is needed, so they both head back to Eddie's mansion to give him the bad news, only to find out not only is Edamura there getting mad coochie, but he also doubled the price to 100 million, and Eddie is actually willing to pay it. Meaning that Makoto won their bet, yet the fond look in Luron's eyes shows that he's not at all bothered by it, and hey, Luron, can you stop staring at my man? And he's not even listening. Oh well, at least I got my girl Abby.
Get the hell out of my sight. Go jerk off in a back alley, you worthless virgin.
That pretty much wraps up the main plot of the first case for the anime without giving away too many spoilers, and I gotta say, just the first episode alone had me hook, line, and sinker right at the opening shot focusing on Edamame being hung off the Hollywood sign, as I just wanted to know what the fuck did this cute Japanese man even do to get himself into this kind of situation. It's probably the best opener I've seen to an anime since Tsuraize. An opener like this just promises good things to come, and plenty of them do come to the point that you won't be able to stop after one episode, so you'll end up binging through it in about a day or two, depending if you have a life outside of anime or not. Every good anime should have a stellar cast of characters, and I'd say Great Pretender does more than just deliver on this, as there isn't one character I actually hated. Even the antagonists had layers that made them enjoyable enough to watch them as they fall for the con our main characters trick them into believing, but they aren't likable enough to actually care when they finally get conned out of their money. Well, besides one asshole, but I'm satisfied what happened to him. Our main characters include Edamura, who I've already introduced as a cocky man who likes to collect capsule toys. As the series goes on, we do see that he's actually pretty good-natured and really only became a scam artist because he got arrested over the misunderstanding he already was one, because the job he had at the time was full of them. So when Makoto can't get a job after being released with his criminal record, he thought he might as well embrace it and become one. Therefore giving us the Edamame we know now, whose overconfident personality gets him in trouble at times, but we get to see Edamura become a more compassionate man for others and even more daring when it comes to taking the risk of things. Even then, he's still a pretty stubborn guy in the end to go along with anything to do with a certain Frenchie. But that actually kind of reminds me, Luron is the only character whose past is not clear and all we can see is what's on his surface level. Although that's not saying we don't know anything about him, because Luron is pretty much Edamame's unofficial mentor in con artistry, much to the former's dismay. He's a pretty smooth man and is quick to make quips or flirt with pretty much anyone, and I do mean anyone. After all, we do respect ourselves a canningly by man, yes sir, yes sir. Yet, besides his personality, all we really know about him is in his present, which is that he's an unknown confidence man and a well-known lady killer, or as Abby would put it,
Coochie man.
Speaking of her, talk about making an entrance, as Abby seems to be Eddie's new girl whose mind isn't quite there, but that was all just an act she put on, as she's really a part of Luron's confidence force, although she'd say they're all independent despite the fact they all seem to work well with each other, even with the teasing Luron is constantly doing to her. Abby is the blunt type of woman who doesn't hold back when it comes to what she thinks about someone and won't even hesitate to go the violent route even when it's not necessary. All of this stems from Abby's past as a child soldier and all the trauma she's been through as a result of it, which also explains how Abby can fight so well and why she's so closed off about her past along with her feelings. For the most part though, Abby is very good at hiding her true self and is very quick to act when being confronted with her emotions. It's really hard for me to pick favorites, especially when there's so many enjoyable characters with interesting traits and backstories that set them different from the other, but Abby has stolen the show for me as she's always had me on the edge of my seat with how she's going to react to situations. Although, watching Makoto trying so hard to prove himself as a good confidence man while also bickering with Luron and the others is just the kind of treat that has me begging for more. And I've only had Edamura and Abby for 3 months, but if anything happens to him, I don't know what I'll... They're fine, I promise. I mean, probably. I mean, a little exploding never hurts. Anyway, let's move on. Where were we? Oh, right. Characters. Just let me look at my script again to see where we are. Wait, why do I suddenly hear battle music? Damn, no, that's the kind of plane I want to take for a spin. This smexy piece of man is Clark, a champion Leon lookalike who's former royalty and a current pilot in the Pathfinder air race that his brother runs. My first thoughts upon seeing this character was, I figured I wasn't gonna like him with how smug he was, and his harem of ladies didn't help because it made me low-key sus about him, especially after Eddie from the last case. My expectations were quickly thrown out of the window yet again. Like, seriously, after this video is over, I'm going to have to replace them. I don't even have any windows at this point, like, God. Never judge a book by its cover is what I've gotten from this, because Clark was nowhere near the kind of sleazeball I expected him to be. Instead, he's more like the go-with-the-flow kind of guy. I definitely believe Hakuna Matata is this man's motto, and if you've seen this anime already, you know I'm right. And unlike the last case, he's more trusting of the Confidence crew, along with even cheering on Abby during her races despite being competitors in the same tournament. You can tell because of all of this that Clark is actually a chill guy and is pretty much just following what his brother says since he believes that he knows what is best for the both of them. With how quickly I came around to Clark, I can't wait to say who's next. Let's just go for a roundup already. There's only one main character I skipped over introducing, but that's only because they have a major plot twist about them that would be a shame if I spoiled it here, but all I'll say is that I love them very much, they deserve the world, and I'm definitely happy with being the rebound. My favorite moment in the anime is just the scene in episode 7 where Makoto is spamming social media on multiple accounts at one time as a way to get their current target to make their races more interesting, and Luron is just on the couch eating food without a care in the world. It's just beautiful. Actually, now that I think about it, episode 7 is probably one of my favorite episodes for Luron's and Edamura's interactions alone. As you may see from the amazing animation, this time brought to us by Wit Studio, and if you don't know them, they have a pretty good resume under their belt. From animating seasons 1 to 3 of Attack on Titan, they also did Vinland Saga and Seraph of the End. Lots of good stuff, I tell you. This has to be one of my favorite styles I've seen in anime, from very good looking character designs, great diversity, and downright gorgeous backgrounds. Everything about it is just mesmerizing. Let's not forget about the music though. It's really nice and it settles you in the mood for this anime perfectly with its jazzy soundtrack, which is pretty relaxing for the most part. Although, don't stay relaxed for too long, as the jazz will be quick to kick you into gear when it's needed in action scenes, or just to play along the scene perfectly like they were meant for each other. And yeah, they were written to be like that for a reason, but hey, I dig it. It's a really great listen to on its own, and I enjoy it immensely, which is why I'm even using some of it for this video in the first place. All in all, with an interesting storyline, great characters, good animation, and just amazing music, I have to say this is my personal anime of the year. Even with the last few episodes having yet to be released, I'm sure I won't be disappointed when I finally see them. And if somehow you haven't seen The Great Pretender yet before this video, then please, by all means, go check it out. And with that as my closing, if you'll excuse me, I have some important matters to attend to. So, you come here often?